Last year, one of Australia's most loved native animals, the koala, went from being classed as vulnerable to endangered in Queensland, New South Wales and the ACT. While habitat loss is the greatest threat, dog attacks and vehicle accidents are also taking their toll on the declining population. In South Australia, one volunteer group has taken it upon themselves to reduce the number of koalas killed on the roads. Angelique Donnellan reports.
I've been a koala rescuer for about 3 years now. In that time, it's probably been around about 300 koalas that I've rescued.
Leah Nelson is used to getting calls in the middle of the night to rescue injured koalas.
Yeah, that's definitely been a knock. Yeah, it's definitely a head injury.
This time, a koala's been hit by a car in the Adelaide Hills and needs urgent medical attention.
Going out to a rescue, particularly being a hit by car koala, is really, really difficult. You don't really know what you're going to see. It's 1:45 a.m. and we've just arrived at the vets to get this little one seen to. He's bleeding from the mouth and he's really, really staring, so it's not looking good. The little guy that I brought in had a severe head injury and there was nothing that can be done for him, so sadly he's been euthanised.
South Australian rescue group 1300 Koalas estimates more than 90% of koalas hit by cars don't survive.
When the speed limit is 80 and above, the likelihood that the koala will actually survive is very, very slim.
Hi Molly. Hi sweetie.
Molly is considered one of the lucky ones. She survived being hit by a car estimated to have been travelling about 60 kilometres an hour.
Oh, is that nice? So Molly had quite a severely dislocated hip. It became completely out of the joint, and we are hoping that it's just going to knit together with the scar tissue so her hip becomes more stable before she's actually released back into the wild.
More koalas are hit by cars during breeding season when they're on the move. In Adelaide, one of the deadliest locations is this freeway that cuts through key koala habitat.
There's just so much more urban development, particularly in around the hills areas. We see a lot more development happening.
So they're constantly having to cross over the freeway and back again just to breed and also to actually get to their colony. So on average, each fortnight, we're rescuing between 5 and 10 koalas from the freeway area just alone, which have been hit by vehicle strikes.
Frustrated by the number of koalas being injured and killed, volunteers have raised $40,000 to trial a technology called virtual fencing. It stops animals from venturing onto roads when cars are approaching.
So the virtual fencing lets off an audible beep. It actually works as the headlights of a car are actually approaching. They warn wildlife not to actually cross the road, and it actually stops them in their tracks.
The virtual fencing trial started mid-last year. Since then, volunteers say there have been no wildlife fatalities along the 3-kilometre stretch of road in the Adelaide Hills.
It's really exciting to see that we've had such a great success in that period of time. We would love to have virtual fencing across all koala hotspots in South Australia. It would mean such a massive reduction of koala deaths via vehicle strike.
But Cheryl says it's been a battle to generate local council and state government interest in any measures to stop koalas being hit by cars.
The lobbying to get a virtual fencing trial in South Australia has taken such a long time. We actually purchased the virtual fencing in 2019, and South Australia is the only state in Australia which has no wildlife fencing or no wildlife bridges.
Spending on measures to stop wildlife being hit by cars varies from state to state. In Queensland, where koalas are listed as endangered, millions have been invested in animal overpasses, fencing and wildlife bridges.
As koalas have gone from vulnerable to endangered, funding has certainly increased, especially in Queensland. It's time the South Australian government invested in some pretty simple solutions, whether that's wildlife underpasses or overpasses, wildlife signalling technology like virtual fencing. All of these things can help reduce the toll on koala numbers.
I think it's probably too early for our state government to be able to say that we are able to apply or able to implement similar technology, but I'm really open-minded, the state government is open-minded, and that's why I'm very keen to see the outcomes of this trial.
Feels pretty good in there.
Molly the koala has undergone weeks of rehabilitation since being hit by a car. The vet is happy with how the animal's dislocated hip is healing.
So we're just checking the mobility of the hip in the hip socket and that it's staying in the hip socket, which currently it seems to be doing quite well.
A few weeks later, Molly is ready for release.
You ready to go, Molly? Good girl.
While Leah knows many more koalas will come into her care, she's glad Molly's story has a happy ending.
Good girl, Molly. Well done. After having her in care for such a long time, and it was very much touch and go with her after she was hit by the car, so it's a very, very happy day for me to be able to see her back at the treetops where she belongs.
What a great idea. That's the program for tonight. Thanks for your company. Good night.